How to get rich by lying to yourself, okay? So in this video, I'm going to cover beliefs, identity, the conscious and subconscious realms, and much more. Who am I and why should you listen to this advice? This is a long video. This is going to be a no edited, no music PowerPoint. So in order for you to stick around, I just want to show you guys and tell you that everything that I'm going to show you in this video for free, might I add, is going to be literally everything that I've used to make over $1 million at the age of 18. So if you don't know who I am, my name is Smith Reese. I'm an entrepreneur from Los Angeles. And, I've been able to use all of these things to make, have a personal brand, start doing content. I have over 200,000 followers on Instagram. You can go follow that if you want. Travel the world. Here's me in Croatia on a yacht. Here's me in Switzerland. Another picture from Switzerland as well. With a Birkin. Here's me in Miami with two McLarens and a rocket launcher, not rentals, by the way. Nice watches, and I've also been able to hang out with some cool people as well. So this was me, I think 2-3 days ago. I was with Chief Keef, which is random, but the goal of this video is to change your entire paradigm. So first off, what is a paradigm? So your paradigm is essentially how you see the entire world, right? From the things you think all the way to the way you think as well. Your paradigm consists of many pillars, and today we're going to deconstruct every single one of them. So, and at the end of the video, consider buying this book called Reality Transurfing. This is not an affiliate. There's no Amazon deals. You can go look it up on Amazon for yourself. It is a fantastic book. It's a thick book. It's a long read, but I do recommend it. So a paradigm change is going to equate to more money. But first, I want to prime your mind. I want to get you ready for this video because this is going to be a long video. It's going to be a lot of information to take in. So in this video and going into this video, I want you to take out a notepad, preferably handwrite, pen and paper. You can do a Google Doc or Apple Notes, whatever you like, but I prefer to write it down with hand because that's how I retain better. But you need to retain the most information, right? Go in with an open mind. Understand that I'm not going to be telling you guys things that you knew you didn't know. I'm going to be telling you things you didn't know even existed, things you didn't know you didn't know. Does that make sense? So understand that money is 80% mindset and 20% work. So first thing I want to cover is resistance and pain. So let me put this into perspective for you guys. Here's me when I was, I believe, 14 or 15, anime fan, pretty skinny, broke. And then this was me literally almost over a year ago as well. And the one difference is pain. The one difference between this kid and this guy is pain. And here's a picture. Now, pain is progress, and you need to change your paradigm to believe that, right? So in order to make progress, you need to optimize your life for pain. Pain is anything that you don't want to do. For example, cold showers, running, work, etc. And the things that you don't want to do are the things that are going to make you progress the most. My entire day is full of shit that I don't want to do, and that's why I'm progressing at an abnormal rate. To do what I do at my age is pretty fucking crazy. So, it's even 8 a.m. right now. I don't want to record this video. It's, I woke up like a little bit ago, and I'd rather go chill. I'd rather take a little day off, but I know that this is going to help people. I know this is going to service people. So I'm not looking at it'd be selfish for me not to record this video and give it to you guys. Does that make sense? So pain can also be emotional. In this picture, I just got done from a hike that I did alone. At the time, I lost purpose and drive in pretty much every facet of my life, and I didn't know what to do. So I sat down and I pretty much just started bawling my eyes out. I just started crying. I decided to take this picture because I knew I'd be looking back on it in the future and I'd be proud of, where I've came. And, precisely that's what we're all doing now, right? This was progress. And one day you're going to look at everything you're going through and you're going to be glad it happened. Absolutely everything. So now let's cover identity, okay? So 99% of getting rich just comes down to your identity. Now, identity refers to your sense of self. It refers to beliefs, okay? It's not what you actually are, but it's what you believe you are. Does that make sense? So whatever you think you are, you are. And that's what comes down to it, right? So identity and actually becoming the person to actually make money and get rich, it's not about what you actually are, right? It's what you believe you are. There was a study done with sports athletes that, for example, one example was NBA players. They thought that their vertical jump was higher than it actually was, but they performed better in game. And this is with all athletes. If you have some kind of belief that you are better than you actually are, I don't care if you're an idiot. I'm not the smartest guy on the planet, but I'm smart enough to sit here, put together an almost hour-long video with 150 slides giving you all this information because I've gone out and I've done it. And I believed that I'm able to do stuff like this. Does that make sense? So it's not about what you actually are. It's about what you believe you are. You don't get what you really deserve. You get what you think you deserve. So you don't believe that things happen to you. You need to start believing that things happen for you. And this plays into the title of lying to yourself to get rich. Does that make sense? You have to kind of understand that you have to have some sense of delusion. You have to lie to yourself, because obviously action and doing things is a factor when it comes to it. But let's say your girlfriend cheated on you. It sucks, but she wasn't the one then. If she was the one, then she wouldn't have cheated. I mean, it's a very simple analogy, but it wasn't you to switch your paradigm in the way you think about things, right? So you have to change everything. And this kind of comes, like I said, plays into the title. You have to believe that things happen for you. So resistance is very similar, right? Resistance is any pushback when you experience when it comes to doing a thing, right? Anything that will make you progress pretty much. So when I wake up in bed, of course I'll have days where I just don't want to get up yet. Like, especially once you've hit higher numbers in money or your bank account, whatever it may be, monthly earnings, you're gonna lose the motivation, and that's just a part of the game. But it's the people that can understand and find a bigger why opposed to themselves, because once you hit certain numbers, you have to become selfless, right? Hitting 10K a month, 20, 30K a month, it's all selfish needs, it's all selfish wants, it's selfish desires. I'm recording this video. I could not spend my time recording this video, but I'm choosing to do it from the perspective of I'm serving people. Does that make sense? Now, I know that if I give to the universe, I'm going to get back, not monetarily, but could be monetarily, but one way or another, right? So that's called resistance. It's the little voice in your head saying, you don't have to do things. I don't have to record this video, but I'm doing it for you. Whoever's watching this video, it's going to help you. So most people often think about the thing, and they think they need to do it too much. They think about it too much. If I were to put a phone in front of you and I asked you to record a video, you probably would. All you would have to do is hit record and talk to the camera. Does that make sense? Like, that's what I'm doing now. I didn't think about recording this video. If I asked you to record a 20-minute long YouTube video, on the other hand, you probably wouldn't. Does that make sense? The steam room is so simple and it's easy with a major return on investment as far as time goes. But why do I skip it sometimes? Because I think about it too much. I think too much. All I really have to do is just sit down and breathe. But it's not really that hard. But the more you think about things, the more you're understanding and trying to overthink and I guess evaluate a situation or an action, you're going to do less of it. Does that make sense? I don't care how smart you are. I don't care how intelligent. I don't care how talented you are. If you overthink and if you take too much time trying to plan, then you are going to go nowhere, because talent without work is fucking nothing, as Ronaldo said. I mean, there's no, like, you see what I'm saying? You cannot overthink these simple tasks, because you just have to do it. Do. The person who like an idiot with action will be 10,000 times more effective than a Einstein that overthinks, okay? So you often overthink yourself from doing things. And in order to make the most progress, you just do now and think later, right? The steam room is so simple, easy. Oh, why is this slide duplicated? You are producing resistance, and it is merely a projection of your fears, and making progress is a little bit scary. So start seeing activities for what they are and activities not for who you are. Does that make sense? Start seeing things for what they actually are. Break it down to first principles, which we're going to talk about later, but you need to see them for what they are and not for who you are. Does that make sense? Go running 12 miles. Oh, well, I'm not David Goggins. Go run in 12 miles, bro. I don't care if your knees give out. You see what I'm saying? So the goal creates the resistance, and the resistance creates the work. Okay, so now we're going to talk about goals. Goals are great to have, but a lot of people fail because they don't set and achieve them properly, right? So let's talk about how to make goals really quick. People often shoot for the craziest goals ever when it comes to what they want to achieve. Now, obviously, I want to have $100 million liquid by the time I'm 25, which is a big shout. I mean, if I'm, if I'm pretty fucking rich at my age, that's a pretty unrealistic goal. I didn't expect to get here, but it's amazing. And that's really the right way to think about it. You kind of have to go progressively by goals, right? You can't be thinking, oh, I want to hit 100K a month. That's definitely down the line. But you shouldn't be focusing on that consciously every single day. Humans intrinsically, psychologically, we suck with time. And I'm going to talk about that in a second. But you have to understand that you need to focus on what's in front of you, okay? When it comes to setting goals or business or entrepreneurship, it's kind of like driving a car during nighttime and it's raining. You see what I'm saying? Your headlights can only see so far ahead of you. It's like 20, 30 feet. And if you're focusing on what's going on 2 miles ahead, you're just going to go, if a turn comes up, if a tree comes up, or if a puddle or ice comes up, you're just going to crash your fucking car. Does that make sense? So you need to go step by step. Focus on making your first sale. Focused on making your first dollar, opposed to trying to hit 20K a month. Because if you don't know how to hit 10K, you're not going to know what to double down on, and you're not going to have any data to hit 30K a month. Does that make sense? So let's start off simple. I want to make $1 million, right? That's a fantastic goal, but it falls apart when you say, I want to make $1 million this year. Having these goals are fantastic, but setting a timeline on them or a deadline is the stupidest thing you could possibly do. And that's one of the biggest things that kills a lot of beginners' progress, okay? I'm all for shooting for the stars, right? Of course. I mean, I've done it for myself, but you need to draw the line between optimistic and realistic. You don't set a deadline for a crazy goal like that, right? So, for example, in World War II, prisoners of war had no idea when or even if they were going to, if the war was going to end or if they were going to get out. So there's no outside information. Most of them were optimistic on getting out, and I'll tell you why that led to their demise, right? So here's John and William, both World War II prisoners, and they were the same age, same height, same weight, etc., and they were captured at the same time as well. Now, the one difference and why one guy survived is how they set goals. So John thinks he's going to be released in 3 months. His goal is optimistic. He's very optimistic. His hopes are high, higher than William's. And John is super happy all the time. He's like he's waking up and he's happy and he's, doing his little hard labor, forced labor. He's eating his one piece of bread and cup of coffee every day. And he's happy. But William doesn't know when the war is going to end. He doesn't know when they're going to be released, but he truly does think that eventually it has to come to an end. No war is going to last forever. Right? He doesn't know when. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So William just goes day by day, waiting, doing his labor. Now, 3 months pass. John is still a prisoner. Conditions are getting worse, and he dies a week later. The issue with John is that he set a deadline to his goal, right? Both are pretty big goals or hopes to have in life, right? Oh, this world war is going to end. Right? There were many third-party controlling factors. So when it hit the deadline, his entire body shut down. And the truth is about everything, your brain, your mind, your conscious, it controls everything. Henceforth, why, like I said earlier, athletes who believe they are really better than they actually are tend to perform better physically on the court, in the field, etc. So humans suck with time. Intrinsically, psychologically, we cannot understand proper time frames. So realistically, if you didn't make 600K to 700K last year, you probably won't make $1 million this year. It's just not a very realistic goal, right? So humans have always sucked with time, but here's how to set goals the right way. So your goal is 10K a month, right? Reverse engineer that goal and see what it actually looks like on day-to-day, week-to-week basis, right? You want to avoid setting a deadline. You have a goal, you don't know when you're going to achieve it. And if you operate with the time frame and the mental framework of it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, then you're gonna hit a lot sooner, okay? Goal, 10K per month. Monthly basis, that's 4 clients closed. Let's say a weekly basis, that's 1 client a week. Daily basis, X cold calls, X DMs, X emails. Same thing with e-commerce. Goal is 10K a month. How many ad creatives is that going to get me? Like, it could be pretty much with whatever business you're doing. So you need to obsess over this goal. Really obsessed, like whatever it may be. I don't care if it doesn't cater to this goal, cut it out. People, habits, etc. I often set monthly goals for myself, and they're easy monthly goals, right? Something I know I'm going to hit regardless, as long as I show up every single day. Now, this allows me to get small positive wins throughout the month. It allows me to have positive dopamine. It allows me to have positive reassurance. I'm reaffirming myself that I am who I say I am, and this new identity, right? Because if let's say you have a goal to hit 10K a month, and it's by X deadline and you don't hit it, you're going to be operating in the lowest possible frequency. You can look this up. There's frequency charts, etc. But you're going to be operating on the lowest possible frequency ever, right? It's going to be guilt, shame. You're going to feel like you did something wrong, even though you were still working towards that goal simply because you had a deadline, right? So get real achievement dopamine, and I hardwire my brain to want more. So now let's talk about beliefs, okay? What are beliefs? Beliefs, more specifically, belief systems. So belief systems are your fundamentals as a human being, okay? Now this plays into everything. So this is just your entire paradigm of life: tangible evidence, pain, inputs, experience, biases, cognitive biases, thought processes. I forgot a T there. Thought processes, beliefs, decision-making, literally everything that makes and makes or breaks your day-to-day, right? Your decision-making, your emotional status, everything. So your entire paradigm has formed from your experience as a human being. Now you look at the way the world is because you've lived your life and you've seen it for yourself. Does that make sense? If you were to ask me 15-year-old me, you're going to be hanging out with celebrities, you're going to be making a shit ton of money, traveling the world, doing all this fantastic stuff, I would be like, that's crazy. That's insane. But that's because I wasn't me. You see what I'm saying? Now that I've already done it, that's just my life now. I'm not trying to be non-humble, like put myself on a pedestal by any means, but that's just my life now. Does that make sense? So you have to understand, you look at the world through a bubble. You look at the world through your personal experiences. I live in, Smith's world, and you live in, let's say your name is John, Alex, William, whatever. You live in your world, and you look at the world through your personal experiences. Everyone just has lived their own life. Does that make sense? So you have to detach yourself from the experiences and belief systems that you've created from your own life. So every human has lived different lives, so they see the world in a different way. Does that make sense? Your belief systems are the one thing that's stopping you from achieving whatever your heart desires. And your paradigm is formed from your inputs. So what are inputs? Inputs are music, things you've seen, news, personal experiences, videos, things you've been told, etc. So, if you go to school and your teacher maybe is a nasty teacher and tells you, oh, you're a lazy student or something like that, especially when you're young, you're going to adopt, because they're in a position of authority, you're going to adopt that belief and identity about yourself, that sense of self that you are lazy. Does that make sense? You have to take everything from a critical thinking standpoint and first principles, which is what I was going to talk about. So let's break it down using a principle called first principle reasoning. First principle reasoning is a problem-solving approach that involves breaking down complex issues into the most basic and fundamental elements. Now, by understanding these fundamental principles, one can reconstruct knowledge and solutions from the ground up, often leading to new and innovative, effective outcomes. So it could be, why? Why do we use this? Say you believe something, right? It's, quote, hard to make money. These are what people call, what I call limiting beliefs. So you have this fundamental belief, it's hard to make money. Why? You have to ask why. Why? Why do you believe that? You have to keep, if you have a belief about yourself, you have to keep asking why until you can't ask why. And then that last answer above is that real reason, right? So you believe it's hard to make money. Why? Maybe because you grew up poor. Maybe you've never been in an environment where money was abundant. Maybe you have a reason, but you can have a reason, but you have to break it down and dissect it for if what you actually believe is logical. It's hard to make money. Okay, so how many billionaires are there in the world? How much money is in circulation? How many new millionaires are being made every single day? Does that make sense? Like, if you grew up poor in a poor neighborhood, in a poor country or state, you live in a fucking bubble. Like, and that sounds super insensitive, but it's true. If you grew up in, let's say, Moldova, which I believe is the poorest country in Europe, if you grew up in Moldova versus if you grew up in the center of Paris or like South Kensington, London, and that's like the Chelsea, the richest areas of the UK, you are like, if you grew up in Moldova, you're going to be like, yo, making 10K a month is crazy. But if you're in South Kensington, you go to a cigar lounge and you see $4 million of car, that's a Bugatti Chiron, you see this, you see that, you see all these rich people cars, like it's going to be in front of you. Does that make sense? So your beliefs and any limiting belief you have is formulated upon an experience, your personal life. So women are only attracted to men with six packs due to the fact that you have the fundamental belief, unless you have a six pack, you literally won't get the woman, right? Someone else could have a different experience though, right? Going back to the money belief, someone could have money be the most abundant resource in their life. So you know damn well they have different beliefs about it, right? Your actions cannot conflict with your beliefs. Understand that. So if you think women are only attracted to men with six packs, right? You're not going to get a girlfriend, regardless of how rich, successful, charismatic, etc. you are. If you have that fundamental belief, you are not going to get a woman unless you have a six pack, right? I mean, you have so many logical, tangible proof in front of you that that's not the case. Does that make sense? So it could be Pete Davidson dated Kim Kardashian and Ariana Grande and all these famous, attractive women. He doesn't have a six pack. You see what I'm saying? He's technically, a lot of people call him ugly, but you see what I'm saying? So your actions cannot conflict with your beliefs. If you want to change your reality, you have to change your actions. And if you want to change your actions, you have to change your beliefs. So it starts in the mind. It all comes down to the mind, okay? So why settle or be comfortable having a belief that doesn't benefit your life? Why on God's green fuck? And this is what I don't understand about, I'm sorry, I'm going to say the P word, but I don't understand this about poor people. They settle and they settle for beliefs that don't benefit their life. I would much rather be so positively delusional. Like if you're going to get into a fight, let's say 10 guys are going to come fight you. Even if it's 1% chance that you're going to win more, believing that you can kill them all and like with your bare hands, you're going to have a better chance of succeeding. Does that make sense? It comes down to your beliefs. So I don't know why anybody on the, and the face, like seriously, take this down. I don't care if it's unrealistic. I don't care if it's fucking delusional. Why the fuck are you believing something that does not benefit you? Especially a belief when it comes to identity, okay, or sense of self. So I've included a Google Doc template below for you to break down every limiting belief you have and solve it. Psychological suicide. Okay, break down on a Google Doc how much would it would cost for you to live your dream life. Now, this is just a figure that you would be proud of, okay? So you can break down, I want this Lamborghini with good credit. That's going to be $3,200 a month. I want this penthouse. That's going to be $15K a month. I want to spend $1,000 a month on food. I want to spend $3K a month on going out to eat. I want to have a girlfriend, so that's going to be another 20 grand a month. I'm joking. It's going to be, whatever month. So break down what your monthly expenses are, and then obviously break down, like, you're not going to be spending 100% of what you're making. So obviously be logical about that. But now you aren't making X right now, and that's for a very good reason. You aren't that kind of person yet, right? So I would be making $1 million a month if I was $1 million a month person, but I'm not. Right? So you need to reverse engineer X and the version of you that's making X amount of money, right? So what does this version of yourself do? How many hours does it sleep? How many hours does it work? What's its morning routine? What's its night routine? You see what I'm saying? What podcast does it listen to? Does it watch videos like this on YouTube that are actually valuable, that give value, not some Mr. Beast hyper edited brain rot things? Does that make sense? So you need to reverse engineer this and break it down to what it would look like of this version of yourself that's making your goal, right? So you have this character and you need to become it. So really think, if you broke down day-to-day routine and what you actually did every single day, you'd be able to reach it without a shadow of a doubt, right? 1 + 1 is 2. You do the things, you get the things. You do shit, you get stuff. That's the biggest equation that I've pretty much lived by. If I do shit, I get stuff. Does that make sense? You need to kill your old self, because who you are right now has gotten you the results that you have right now and the life that you have right now. And if you're not happy with the life you have now and you want to make more money, then you need to kill your current self, commit psychological suicide, become this new version of yourself. So you need to, it's like a 3 to 4 month rebirth period. Don't do monk mode. Monk mode is terrible. That's a term that's been thrown around a lot, and that involves isolation. You need to stay social. But I'll give you a rundown of my entire rebirth period, and this tripled my income. So I woke up at sunrise, 6 a.m. That was pain. I cold showered as soon as I woke up. That was pain. I shaved my head as well. I prayed, read the Bible. I wouldn't consider that pain. But straight into 3-hour work block, pain. Go for a walk, back into 2-hour work block, pain. Walk again, gym, pain. Record video, pain. Combat training. I did MMA. I did Muay Thai, and I did Russian boxing. That's all pain. That's a hefty day of pain. Is that not? I'd wake up, do a shit ton of work, then I had to go to the gym, eat an entire meal, then go to Muay Thai training on a full stomach. Every single Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I was this close to throwing up at training. So if you did that every single day, you'd be proving to yourself every single day that you are that guy. I am that guy because I say what I do. Does that make sense? Most people want to believe something about themselves, but they don't reinforce the idea. Does that make sense? They want to believe something about themselves, but they don't do things in their day-to-day life that reinforces that sense of identity. They don't do the actions to actually, like, they don't have any proof that they are who they say they are, right? Like, for example, let's go back to this routine. If I was like, I'm a seasoned entrepreneur, I make a lot of money, I am capable when it comes to combat, and I am strong, and I am religious. I'm a good Christian, right? Let's just say that. That's the identity I want. This routine, doing this every single day, reinforces that identity. But you want the identity of a seasoned entrepreneur who makes $1 million a year, who is, really consistent in the gym and very healthy. They biohack and they intermittent fast and all that stuff. But then you wake up at 9 a.m. You don't go to the gym. You go to the gym, but you do reps till mild discomfort. You don't go till failure. You don't lift actual heavy weight. You see what I'm saying? Your actions should directly reflect who you want to be. Does that make sense? Most people want to become somebody, but they don't act like they are that person. So monk mode has ruined lives. Monk mode has ruined lives for, my life for a year. And I was making money, but I was lonely and depressed. And I don't want to optimize my life for money. So what do you want to be or optimize your life for? Money, women, friends, health? You need to balance. You really do need to balance. If you want to optimize your life for money and you don't care about getting a girlfriend, a long-lasting relationship, a relationship with Christ or God, whatever God you may believe, you don't want to have friends, you don't want to be healthy, then you can go lock yourself in a room, stay up till 4 a.m. every single night, sitting on a laptop, eating junk food, ordering Uber Eats. That's you. Like, if you want to only have money, that's fantastic. You can do that. But I've done that. It's not very cool. So if you wanted to optimize your life for money, yeah, I pretty much already said that. So if you wanted to optimize your life for the gym, you'd be jacked, but you'd probably start doing steroids and you'd probably be poor. Does that make sense? That's why most bodybuilders are poor. So evaluate your life. What do you want? What means the most to you? Monk mode prioritizes money and devalues every single other facet of a fundamental and healthy, quote, parentheses, or quote, good life. Does that make sense? So I'm not saying don't go monk mode, don't go nightmare mode, lock in, whatever you want to call it, but there's a line, there's a benchmark. Sometimes it goes too far. Humans are social creatures. Psychologically, we need human one-to-one interaction. Now, without that, I was making money, but I did lose my social skills. And what's the point of having money if you can't enjoy it with your friends? I had one of the most fantastic nights of my life the other night, And it was because it was me, it was my two closest friends on the entire planet, and all of our girlfriends. And we were at this nice Mexican restaurant, and we were there for 4 hours, I kid you not. We sat there, it was like, we got there at 6 and we left at 10. That was one of the best nights of my life because I was able to just enjoy the freedom. I didn't go to work. I didn't have to go to a job. I didn't feel mentally drained because my work and my job is things that I really enjoy doing. I didn't have to think about it. I just chopped it up with my boys. We had great conversations, talked about the world, our lives, geopolitics, opinions, etc., jokes. And that's the beauty of what I'm like having this. And if I was in monk mode, I wouldn't be able to have that. I'd say, I don't want to do that. The truth about it is you need to stay social. People think that they have to stop hanging out with their friends. If you have no good influences, then maybe cut it out a little bit, but you need to remain social. I don't care who you are. You need to be hanging out with your friends. And that's that. I want you guys to remember that because, for example, think about the person who is depressed and they're in low frequency, they're in low energy, low vibration every single day. They're staying in bed all day, but they still end up tired. How the fuck are you in bed all day and you still are tired? It just doesn't logically make sense, right? So the thing is that person is going to be as tired as somebody who worked a 16-hour construction job. Does that make sense? Because you have to be in motion. You have to constantly be in flow. You have to be in motion. Your mind cannot be like a lake. A lake can't grow. A lake can only shrink. The water can only evaporate, and then humans can build around it and take its resources or pump its water out. If you're a river, there's things constantly going in and going out. There's motion, there's flow, and that's what you need to do with your life. That's how you need to treat your mind. So what I'm trying to say is it's just weigh the pros and cons. Just weigh it out, right? You have to have a reason to do anything. You don't just do, okay? So at the end of the day, you need to consume with intention, right? You're consuming this video with intention. And if you haven't been taking notes, then I don't know what you're doing right now. If you're having this play in the background, you're an idiot. This is not a video. This is not a background video. This is a fucking video that you're going to watch that is going to restructure your entire fundamental life. Does that make sense? Your subconscious, your conscious, you need to consume with intent. You need to be conscious about what you do. So most people scroll. You're not conscious when you're scrolling. You're just scroll. You're doing nothing, right? You're not consuming with intention. The same way that, let me put this into perspective. Why do you eat protein? If you're a gym guy, why do you eat protein? Okay, protein. You're consuming that with an intention. You want to eat protein. Probably tastes a little bit bad. Protein shakes taste like cardboard to me, but you're consuming the protein to get muscle. So you're consuming this content to get rich. Does that make sense? You need to consume with intention. The equivalent of consuming without intention is the equivalent to going into a candy store and eating fucking everything. Just eating food to eat food and feel full. Does that make sense? To feel temporarily full. It's like eating a fucking bag of candy popcorn. Does that make sense? Candy will not actually make you feel full. It will not give your body nutrients. You will not be able to digest that properly. The colors, the foods, the dyes, the chemicals are going to ruin your overall health, right? And that's what content is like. Consuming everything with intention is the thing that's going to change your fucking life. Because if you're scrolling and watching videos like willy-nilly, doing whatever you want, that's the equivalent to eating candy. It's going to make you feel full, but then your dopaminergic system is going to fucking spike. You're going to feel like shit. So let me tell you a story about my old friend Adam. So here's the important pillars, okay? So you need rebirth. You need 4 to 5 months of just full metamorphosis. You need radical responsibility. You are a product of your own actions, okay? You are where you are because you've done whatever you've done. Does that make sense? You are exactly, the truth is, I don't care if you're rich or you're poor, you're fat, you're skinny, or even jacked, you're exactly where you deserve to be. Understand that. So your environment is everything, okay? Environment is the content you consume, the people you hang with, and even your workspace. Cater everything to the evolved version of you. Everything in your environment is an input. So this goes back to my friend Adam, right? Essentially, he was my buddy, and we were in I used to have like a little group on WhatsApp for when I was trying to be an entrepreneur or starting business, right? And I tried to have a good environment and talk to people. And this guy made, I think it was like $100,000 before he was even a senior. He was a senior at the time. Before he graduated high school, he made $100,000, which is fucking crazy. Now, the thing with him is he made $100,000 with dropshipping, which is what I do, and I started at the time. And he decided to quit that and go to college. He made $100,000 from his laptop. But the thing is his fundamental beliefs weren't aligned with the person. He made the money, but he wasn't the kind of person to keep, preserve, multiply that money. Does that make sense? So that's the biggest, scariest thing, is making money, but not being that kind of person. So get rid of any minor distractions, right? This could be anything from random posters, figurines, books, etc. Let me unplug my camera because I think it's going to overheat. But this could be anything, right? Your desk needs to be nothing but the essentials for work, and that's literally it. You need a pitch black room, optimized sleep. Like, you don't see anything in my background that's not optimized. I have a $4,000 Go Yard bag, some hats, a whiteboard, obviously, and then a trash and some shoes. That's it. I throw my trash in a Saint Laurent bag, bro. That you got to get to that point, guys. So your desk needs to be nothing but the essentials for your work, and that's it, right? So I personally strip my room from everything, and everywhere I go, I strip it of everything, right? This is catered to my goals. No posters, it's just empty shelves, etc. So now let's get into self-programming, because your mind, brains, your psyche, it's built upon patterns. Humans are thought-based creatures. They're pattern recognition. So the subconscious mind is a powerful part of our mental processes, that operates below our conscious awareness, right? It influences our thoughts, emotions, behaviors through automatic processes, learned habits, and emotional responses. Like I said, we are pattern-based creatures. So while we are not actively aware of its workings, the subconscious mind stores memories, manages routines, and processes information quickly and efficiently. It plays a crucial role in shaping our perceptions and actions, often guiding us based on past personal experiences and ingrained patterns without even us realizing, right? So understanding the subconscious helps us appreciate the depth and complexity of the human behavior and cognition. So you need to understand that humans are pattern-based creatures. Your brain has something that's called plasticity. So it only takes, 3 days to pick up a habit, right? Like, think about something that you do without even thinking when you're on airplane mode, right? Like, what's something we do? Someone blows in your eyes and you blink. Like, that's what you're the habits of this new identity that you want to adopt should be. It should be on airplane mode. You should do it without thinking. Does that make sense? I wake up, I don't touch my phone, I do red light therapy, I pray, I read my Bible, I meditate, and I get to work. I don't even think about that. I have done that, and I've adopted that through my, obviously it took a little while to do that, but it's taking advantage of your brain, right? You need to understand how the brain works. So your subconscious plays pretty much into everything you do. So I'm going to show you how to hack or reprogram your mind to your advantage, right? So like we talked about earlier, you are the way you are because of your inputs, right? Every thought and action you've ever had or taken is the result of some kind of input. Regardless of what you want to admit, that's the truth. So these can be anything from the music you listen to all the way to the people you interact with, the Instagram videos you watch, the podcasts you listen to, videos like this on YouTube. So you need to reprogram your life and turn it to your subconscious and cater it to your goal. So only watch and read money-based self-improvement books, okay? All of your inputs are money/self-improvement related. You make money. Simple. If you go and talk to a bunch of friends that are depressed and talk about being depressed, you're probably going to be a little bit fucking depressed. Does that make sense? Even your parents can be bad inputs, and that's the truth. Maybe you have close friends. When I was trying to get rich, I cut off friends that I knew for 6 years because they made fun of me. They smoked weed. They weren't in a court. They weren't serving my beliefs or my goals. Does that make sense? So one of the biggest hacks that I've made, so this plays into the subconscious mind. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will rule your life and you will call it fate. That's the truth. You need to really understand your subconscious. Does that make understand that? Okay, so this is something that I do every single morning. I call it like a custom audio or subliminals. So you need to listen to a 432 hertz frequency audio, and I give myself affirmations towards my goals. Now, the goal of this is not to say I will. It's not to say I will. It's saying I am. You are the identity. You have to lie to yourself, hence the title of this video. So the most music in today's world is made in 440 hertz, and that's the lowest frequency that you can make it. That puts your vibration at the lowest. So 432 hertz is more harmonious with your brain. It is way more harmonious with your brain waves. You have to understand alpha, beta, theta waves. So this is a lot of stuff that you can do. You guys can go research this on your own, ask ChatGPT, go do the rabbit hole, check forums, whatever you want. But this frequency resonates much more naturally with the universe and the human body compared to the standard 440 hertz tuning. So proponents suggest that 432 hertz promotes relaxation and well-being, aligning more closely with natural harmonics. So essentially what I do is I take audios. It's like 10, 15 minutes. I meditate to it. I visualize to it. And I understand, basically, I just say, I am, or I'm, or you don't want to say I'm going to, because you put it away from you. The goal from this is to attract. It's to be magnetic. It's law of attraction. You don't want to, does that make sense? So you don't want to attach yourself to some goal. You want to say, I am a millionaire. I am this. I am this. I am that. I'm the kind of person this. You see what I'm saying? So every morning I listen to this in a meditative state. Now, the truth about this is that your subconscious is the most vulnerable, okay? Like when you wake up and getting your gears going, right? So when you wake up, your mind and your subconscious is the most vulnerable, which is why you want to listen to these subliminals as soon as you wake up. Like even in bed, just sit up so your blood gets flowing. You don't lay down or fall back asleep. You just sit up, sit there and listen to these subliminals. And also right before you go to bed, because that's when your subconscious is the most vulnerable. You can even repeat them to yourself as you're going to sleep. So this allows me to start my day off with thinking about nothing except my goals. And it works so well, I've found, because your inner dialogue resonates with your own voice over any other. So it's yourself speaking. Essentially, you can use GarageBand, BandLab, FL Studio, Logic, whatever you want to use, Ableton. Take a 432 hertz frequency meditative audio. You can find these on YouTube. Use YT to MP3 converters, YouTube video to MP3 converters. Put those into one of those, audio whatever ones. Then you can even use like BandLab and record your own voice over it as well. This is all free. So definitely try that. There we go. So it works so well, I found, because your inner dialogue resonates with your own voice over any other, because it's yourself speaking. So clarity. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. Watching this video, close your fucking eyes. I'm serious. Close them. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Hold for a second. And then blow out of your mouth as slowly as possible, like you're blowing a candle out. So do that 5 times. Pause the video and unpause it when you're done. Okay? So pause this video. Go do that 5 times. Really slow your heart rate. Breathe as slowly as possible. And then come back. Okay. So you're back. Hopefully you did that. But let's find your purpose or your why. So if I gave you $1 billion, right, and you couldn't spend it or invest the money, all it granted you is financial security for the rest of your life. You could pay your current life now, all your bills. You can't go buy a new house. You can't go buy a new car. You can't go buy a new watch. You can just, your monthly expenses for the rest of your life are covered because you're a billionaire. So meaning your bills were paid for, your family's taken care of, etc. What would you do on a day-to-day basis? What would you do on a day-to-day basis? Think. If you gave me $1 billion, I would still be doing what I'm doing right now. And that's the purest form of authenticity, purpose, drive, motivation. I'm servicing other people. Now, I'm doing that from a selfless sense. I'm not getting paid for this video. YouTube is not going to pay me. This channel is not even monetized right now. Hopefully this video pops. Maybe it does. It can manifest the 100K views. But you see what I'm saying? Understand, unless you're Gandhi, you're not going to be able to live a life in accordance to your purpose. Money is that vehicle that's going to get you into the position to live in accordance to your purpose, okay? So my purpose isn't to be a drop shipper, but I used it as a vehicle to get me in a position as an individual to where now I can go all in. I can make videos. I can get a personal brand. I can get followers. I can have fun. I can enjoy my life. Let's talk about biases. So a cognitive bias is a systematic pattern of deviation from the norm or rationality and judgment. So individuals create their own, quote, subjective reality from their perception of the input. And an individual's construction of reality, not the objective input, may dictate their behavior in the world. Now, I talk a lot about this in Organic Overdrive, and we have a codex to follow and resources to use as well. So we store memories differently based on how they were experienced. Okay, we produce events and list them to their key elements. Humans have a tendency to think in particular ways that can lead to systematic deviations from making rational judgments. I'm gonna say that one more time. We store memories differently based on how they were experienced. Okay, we reduce events and lists to their key elements. Okay, remember this. Take notes. Humans have a tendency to think in particular ways that can lead to systematic deviations from making rational judgments. These tendencies usually arise from A, information processing shortcuts, B, limited processing ability of the brain, C, emotional and moral motivations, and D, distortions in storing and retrieving memories and social influence. So for example, familiarity bias, okay? An investor puts her money in what she knows rather than seeking the obvious benefits from portfolio and diversification. Just because a certain type of industry or security is familiar doesn't make it a logical selection. Let's say you want to put $100,000, like half your life savings, into, let's say, Tesla. And then Elon Musk makes a tweet. You only invested in Tesla because you know about Tesla and you know about Elon Musk. He's the richest man in the world. He makes a tweet. Tanks the stock price. Now you lose all your money. Same thing. So novelty bias. You choose a business model or a logo or an idea simply due to the fact that it is, quote, new, thinking that new is better. You fail to do any research, no due diligence, no actual research and ignore any historical evidence. For example, the iPhone. You buy your new iPhone. I buy a new iPhone every single 2 years. Not because the third one is going to be, oh my God, fantastic, but because they're going to break mine. They update and make it a lot slower. So I kind of have to. But the new iPhone is not it's not new. New is not better. Better is better. Selective perception bias, right? This bias is the tendency to see and interpret information in a way that confirms one's pre-existing beliefs. This bias can lead to ignoring or dismissing information that contradicts these beliefs. People will ignore third-party opinions or advice due to the fact that listening will cause them emotional discomfort or an admission to being, quote, wrong. Think about politics, right? A lot of people are, especially, I'm not going to talk about, specific stuff, but let's say you're a Republican or you're a Democrat. You're pretty much not going to research anything against let's say you want to get X person to be president. You're going to vote for X person. You believe and you agree with what they say. You're not going to go and look into any bad things they've done. Selective perception bias. Does that make sense? You're choosing to research the only good things. You're not going to go like everyone who voted for Hillary Clinton back in the day. I'm not taking a side, but like when her emails came out and, going to the island and all that kind of stuff. No, a lot of people didn't actually do research on that because they want to choose they don't want to admit being wrong. You see what I'm saying? So get specific. Getting specific not only gives you the proof of concept via visualizing, but it allows you to cater other aspects of your life to optimize your progress. So, think about like a lost ship, right? Humans are nothing but raw potential. Now it's kind of like I said, a lost ship. If you're in the ocean and you're just a boat floating, you have no intention, you have no conscious ability to have direction. You are just being swollen by the waves. Now, if you have conscious, you take over your paradigm, your beliefs, you have intention in what you're acting for, you have an identity to become, then you put a sail up. And and that's the sail. The sail is your identity. The sail is this. The sail is your beliefs, your paradigm, your does that make sense? And then the moment sorry, I hit my mic. The moment you start doing anything in regards and in accordance to this identity, that's the wind. And the wind will push that sail and take you to wherever you want to go. So a goal is a snapshot into the future. There's a reason why I had you all, make your evolved self avatar. Without a goal, you're just walking around life in no direction. All success is deciding what you want and then working to get it. Like I said at the start of this video, you do shit, you get stuff. So make a Google Doc. Write down your dream life monthly expenses. Right? Example, Lambo, 2,700, penthouse, 10K, gym, 200, food, 1,000, shopping, 3,000, gifts, 2,000, family, 10K. It's like 30K a month in expenses. So you need to be smart with your money too. So total monthly recurring revenue to live your dream life is, let's say, $50,000 to $70,000 a month. Does that make sense? So I went from hovering around $100 in my bank account for months trying e-commerce, drop shipping, which is what I do still to this day, on end. And then within 100 hours, I had over $8,000 in my bank account. That will be you. It will literally be nothing, whoosh, compounded results. The results you get will be exponentially more extreme with time. Now, your income is also dependent on your depth of understanding. So the deeper you understand your customer, client, niche, etc., the more money you're going to make. And that's what makes you an expert or not, right? I've done so much due diligence, research, time, trying these weird, obscure, niche woo-woo techniques out. And that's why I'm only being able to distill you and give you the things that work. I'm not going to sit here and give you something that didn't work because it's taken me 2-3 years to sit here and make this video with the knowledge that I have. So get a sheet of paper, make a Google Doc, and at the top of the page, write down the desired MRR that we talked about prior. Ask yourself why you want that dream figure per se, like write that down under the goal, and ask yourself why you want the things you wrote under the goal. I want to make 50K a month. Why? I want more money. Why? I want a Lambo, nice watches. Why? I want to feel appreciated and validated by society. Why? My childhood lacked a healthy dynamic from my parents, so I'm going to seek what I missed as a child from a third-party source. Most people don't want money. They want money to feed something. My Instagram, like this video is to serve people. My main Instagram is because I want to be famous. I didn't have, validation growing up as a kid. I had a really rough childhood, and that's why I do Instagram. I fill it. It's filling a void, and it's feeding trauma from my past experiences. Most people are like, bro, I just do. There's something. There's always a deeper why to why somebody's doing something. So your income is dependent on your depth of understanding. The deeper you understand your customer, client, niche, boom, I already said that. Repetitive negative thinking patterns can be single-handedly the most detrimental thing to a man or woman if you're watching this. But it was for me. So nothing kills a man faster than his own mind, right? Something called rumination. So rumination involves repetitive thinking or dwelling on negative feelings and distress. And their causes and consequences. The repetitive negative aspect of rumination can contribute to the development or depression of or anxiety and can worsen existing conditions. So if I were to ask you take you on a highway or a busy car park, I'd say, count how many red cars there are on the parking lot. 1, 2, 3. Okay, there's 4 red cars. I'm like, well, how many black cars were there? You're like, oh shit, I don't know. That's because you're only focusing on the red cars. Now, if I asked you to say, go count all the black cars, you're like, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 13. I was like, how many green cars are there? You're like, oh, I don't know. You're only going to see what you're focusing on. So that's what I'm saying. Comes back to the other slide that I talked to you guys about, like, why would you adopt a belief that doesn't serve your goals or your goal identity? Does that make sense? So this comes down to repetitive negative thinking patterns. If you're constantly thinking negatively, oh, I'm putting myself down, you're going to be worse off. So when a person is depressed and in a depressed mood, ruminates, they are more likely to remember more negative thinking that happened to them in the past. They interpret situations in their current lives more negatively. They're more hopeless about the future. And this preoccupation with problems also makes it difficult to move beyond that or allow to focus on problem solving. So they're focused on problems, but they're not focused on problem solving. There's a very big difference. Even people without depression or anxiety, rumination can contribute to a lot of negative emotions, anxiety, and this can become a cycle where the more the person ruminates, the worse they feel, which then contributes to more rumination, hence the name repetitive negative thinking patterns. So there is comfort in sadness and negativity. Humans are always, it's much easier to be fucking depressed and sad and negative all the time than it is to be happy. And that's the truth. So one of the most depressing periods of my life was summer of 2023, around like a year and a half ago. So 2 years ago on the dot, I had gotten comfortable in my business. I had hit a plateau. Everything was stagnant and I wasn't growing, but I wasn't declining either. I was just kind of making the same amount of money. And I ended up falling into the trap of depression. Now, pretty much every single day, I would just feel crippling loneliness, henceforth monk mode and lack of social. I wasn't doing subliminals. I didn't even understand what this kinds of stuff was, which is why I'm telling it to you guys now, because this shit changed my life. And overall operating at the lowest possible frequency a human could. Now, I wish at the time I knew what I knew now, because I could have just snapped out of it, right? But the constant sad music I listened to, the isolation I was experiencing because I wasn't social, that was a depression cocktail. That was a negative frequency cocktail. And I slowly got out of that, but it was terrible. Now, repetitive negative thinking patterns is what I was experiencing. The human brain is fucking stupid, and it can sabotage you all the time. You are not your brain, nor are you your body. You are the consciousness that resides in a tangible and physical configuration of flesh. I'm going to say that one more time. You are not your brain, nor are you your body. You are the consciousness that resides in a tangible and physical configuration of flesh. Does that make sense? My hand is not me. My face is not me. My feet are not me. My brain even isn't me. My consciousness is. My soul. Think of your consciousness like your soul. So mental energy is tangible, and it can't vanish without a trace. So when a group of people begins to think in one direction, their, quote, thought waves superimpose over one another. And in this ocean of energy, they create invisible but real energy. Information structures, pendulums, right? They begin to develop themselves and make people follow their laws. Once, under the influence of a destructive pendulum, one loses his or her freedom because the cog is way too big. It becomes a cog in the big mechanism. So same way that when there's a packed stadium at a football game, someone will start a wave, right? This starts with one person standing up, then 2 people, then everyone sees like people trying to start a wave. So then 5, 6 people, 6, 7 people, 100,000 people, boom, all out of nowhere, right? So within 60 seconds, you have 20,000 people all in tune. Fucking crazy. So how to avoid getting caught in pendulums? So how do you avoid getting caught up in pendulums, right? The key is to maintain your own individuality and avoid getting swept up in group dynamics. This means getting aware of your own desires and emotions, not letting yourself be swayed by the beliefs of others. It's also important to be mindful of the pendulums that you create yourself and also avoid becoming attached to them. So you don't know if things are good or bad, right? It's all relative to the timeline in which you look at things. Okay, like something could happen to you, and if like the thing about life is that the movie's going to end, but there's chapters in the movie. If you just look at a chapter, let's say the chapter had a bad ending, then sure, it had a bad ending. But it's just kind of super stupid to just stop it there. Like things are only, it's all relative. Things are good. Things are only good or bad or positive or negative in the time frame in which you look at it. Whatever problems you're going through now, you're going to think about in 4 months. You're going to be like, that was fucking stupid. Think about what problem you had a month ago, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, big problems in your life. You don't even think about that now. It's all solved itself out. So what's to say that that's not different today? So you can't hate someone and understand them at the same time. Most anger comes from ignorance. Animosity is manifested from a lack of understanding. And that's what really changed my life. And this kind of plays into religion, right? This comes down to the Bible. Now, I don't know. This is not like hopefully I have Christians watching this. Hopefully I can maybe turn people to Christianity through this. But this is really what I've understood from, the Bible and what would Jesus do. So you can't hate someone and understand them at the same time. Most anger comes from ignorance. Does that make sense? Animosity is manifested from my lack of understanding. This is something that I've realized fairly recently. And chances are if you hate or / dislike someone, you don't know them enough to hate them. There's a saying, it's like, if you have a problem with me, call me. And if you don't have my number, then you don't know me well enough to have a problem with me. Does that make sense? So that's really the truth, right? Like if let's say somebody grew up, in a really terrible neighborhood or a terrible house and, they ended up becoming a drug dealer. Like, you would consider that being a bad person, but I'm 99% sure if you grew up in their childhood, if you grew up with that house, that neighborhood, that environment, you'd probably be a drug dealer too. So put yourself in their shoes, in their position, right? Chances are, given the circumstances, you would be the exact same as them. When you're going through the bullshit, it's a lot longer than you expect it to be. Everybody wants the credit for like this 30-second Rocky cutscene, but it's 10 times longer. Your dream life is a couple hard decisions or conversations away. Now, the one thing I can contribute to my success is taking action, just constantly executing. Everything I do is catered to my dream life. Now, I used to have this stigma around investing in self-education, right? I bought 2 books and I called it at that. But please don't be ignorant when it comes to learning new things, right? This video is over an hour, hopefully maybe 40 minutes plus, but you don't know everything. If you did, then you'd already be rich, right? That's really just the case. So stop thinking like sorry to say the B word, stop thinking like a brokey, right? You see someone with a car you want, you can either admire them or despise them. Which attitude do you think has more return? So I would highly suggest you invest in mentors, programs, and other forms of self-education in general. Alex Hormozi was able to go from rich to broke to rich, back to broke, and back to rich again because he sharpened his axe, right? It's all a reps game. So it's kind of the end of the video. Drop a subscribe if you thought it was valuable. If you really enjoyed it, follow my Instagram as well. I'm not going to peddle like a course or anything, but I teach pretty much exactly what I do. I show case studies, personal stores, like pretty much everything. We have 2 live coaching calls a week, winning product drops and breakdowns, and then obviously over 300 hours of course material exactly like this video. So that's going to be the first link in the description if you want to work with me. But nonetheless, you don't have to. It's all right. Thank you for watching the video, and if you got to the end, it tells me a lot about where you are in life. So I look forward to seeing you succeed. I'm rooting for you. Take care and have a blessed day.